that is a problem there. In talking to this committee, I've established now that this is quite a long, ongoing problem, and the problem was with the agent, or is with the agents that are between your organisation and them. The money was paid to them, but we don't know what happened to the money, and the electricity was cut off, and since then the cables have been stolen, the transformers have been stolen. A lot of things have happened, so now we've got a big headache on our hands. In my world, I want to, I start by looking at a balance sheet. I don't know if you have a balance sheet for Sondela as a going concern. Nothing at all. You'd have to take stock of that one.
And then we will, I think if we do, I just need to see what in the office these days. So there's been different managing agents. There was sitting there, there was also assisting. So we've verified of what we could pick up and what we could have. But we've never had access to the bank accounts and so forth. So we want to get to the point where maybe, depending on what you need, we can sit with you guys. Then say, okay, this is the entire documents and then you see what you would need from there. But yeah, on our side, it's represent that we don't have solid things.
Just for my own clarity, the agency is a government agency. The actual asset, who owns the asset?
So I was going to discuss it. So how social housing works is that it's a government program, one of the housing programs for the community. Right? So what the department said is that you will invest in anyone who comes up and then register. So there's what we call social housing institutions. So you company, you go see where there's land, and then we first establish whether it's within a restructuring zone. The municipality assists us with that. And once, if your land is within a restructuring zone, then you do a proposal to the SHRA as a company to say there is this land, you want to get into this program. Then we go through a whole criteria where we try to see then whether you will qualify. And then once you do qualify, so you have to first get approval from the municipality and province. So the final agreement that you sign with government includes the SHRA, who then provides that bit of funding. You also have to fund that project as well. So we fund up to about 7% of the project, and then when you go source out the balance, but once you register, then you've done the necessary part. So it's your project, but we then say because you meet our criteria, we're ready to fund, and then we sign a tripartite agreement. It's the SHRA, it's the person who brought the project, and it's the province. So you see the province of Gauteng is the part and parcel of this agreement. So when that tripartite agreement, then you then sign up to build and then manage it on the long run, and then the regulator then becomes that person you answer to, and then we answer to the Minister of Housing and Parliament. So that's the process that they would have gone. So during that process, it depends. So there's 3 ways which the Act allows. It's either they bring their own land, which is what they did in this case, or they sign a land ability agreement with the municipality, or they sign a long-term lease with the municipality. Those are the only 3 ways you can acquire land for this, but it must be within a structuring zone.
So this particular place is Let's Care, as I understand.
Let's Care was the one that did,
the one which did the initial
application, they applied, they went through the process, and at the end, so Let's Care, the company, they worked with, the land was owned by another company called Evening Shades and Cllr. So they own the land, and Let's Care partnered with them to actually develop. And then at the end, it was handed over to Let's Care. So the buildings as they stand, they registered under Let's Care.
Now who owns the land? Separate company?
Same company.
Same company.
Yeah, so they own the land and the buildings.
Let's Care.
Yeah, so remember it was owned by Evening Shade at first. And then part of this transaction is that everything was being transferred under this company. the land issue, so they develop and give us a temporary order, but we only going to fund, especially with the building, only up to 70. Sometimes it does go up a bit, but there's a portion that has to be funded, and it's Nedbank that actually filled that gap. So they went and got a loan with Nedbank, then cover the balance to finish the project. Right, so there's now 3 parties that are involved in this thing, right? So they then obviously, once they've built, they then need to then tenant in accordance with the social housing requirements, which is basically that specific group, and they need to then keep it running for the benefit of the tenants themselves and the state, because now the state gave a grant, so it's not a loan. So our only return on investment is a well-functioning place, which is giving the beneficiaries everything that they need in order to then, and they're always strategically located so that it's closer to amenities, places of work, and so forth. So we always look, if you find social housing, it's always close to urban areas where we need people to say, okay, it doesn't take long to get to work, given the fact that we've placed them now as close as we can to amenities. So that then becomes the responsibility of this company to then manage it. So the contract that they sign with us is actually long-term. It's actually definite, where they are managing it, maintaining it, and making sure that it's kept right, that there's security. The basics that you'd want in a normal complex. We want to make sure that those are there. So then our tenants, then in order to keep that going, they pay rentals, right? So it's a rental option. So those rentals again, because these companies are non-profit organizations, so they're not allowed to collect rentals, mainly to then, even the way they calculate rentals, they must actually show that it's to cover operational expenses and obviously the staff that's there and so forth. And then whatever is left over from the rentals is then used to make the place better. So we literally say, once we've invested, there's nothing more that's coming. It has to be self-sustaining through rentals. But then again, we still regulate how much rentals they can have. So in terms of the act, you can't, the rental can, we cater for annual increases, but it can't be more than 33% of that owner's income that's declared. Because at the end of the day, then they will need to pay the rent. So it's got to be sustainable for the people there. So if you look at the most lowest bracket that we have, at around 380, 1850, you calculate the rentals, at most it's about 750, 900 you can charge. Because you can't burden them over at least that much, because they still need to survive, pay electricity and so on. So we try to then balancing acts as well. But as soon as the company itself maybe goes into a administration, poor governance and everything, we need to then come back and make sure that this thing we don't lose it. So in this instance, obviously, it happened. We found out that there was maladministration, and then we had to then jump in terms of the act and then step in the shoes of this company now to make sure that, so one of the options that we have is to actually turn it around, make sure that it's turned around, and depending on who's at fault, that those people the court order usually suspends them, but once we find administration, they are fired, and then they need to then get a new board. But that's if the company is still functional. But if it's at the state where the guys just left, we then come in and then have temporary sort of managing, try to make sure that it still complies with social housing. Then we go what we call
We did it! Why would somebody tender on something?
Tender.
What's in it for them?
That's the thing.
What's in it for the company?
That's the thing. The whole process is very clear. So people go in. Most of it is made during construction because they charge their normal construction costs, and there's some ROI. But this is definitely for people who are social minded, who then want to save for the community. So it could be like your NPO, your NGO, who's saying for the sake of community, for the sake of things, I'm going to bind myself in the long term. And unfortunately,
people don't think that way.
They don't think that way. But we do have ones that have been I mean, there's Communicate in Cape Town that has been running since 1929, doing government things, and they are still there. We met with them with the minister yesterday at the Cllr Hotel in Tambo to discuss social housing. So there are those that are really vested, and it works. It's something that works, but it just needs the right mind. And in this instance, you do have those gaps where the regulator now needs to step in and make sure that things
look,
come
I
around.
understand. I understand the process you clearly now. And I can see what the pitfalls are.
Yes.
The problem is now we're in this situation.
That's correct.
It's clear.
176 Sondela.
There's nothing
Nana
there.
sinenkinga.
Literally, it's a shell for now. And then, as we're saying, as we stand as the regulator, trying to regulate, we don't have to move the stock and everyone into another qualifying SHRA that is able to then run it going forward. So we need to rescue it, and then we, obviously, whatever consequences that come with how Cllr was run, those we're not saying that they're going to be swept under the carpet, they must then do that. And then at the end of the day, one of the other options is that at the end, because I don't think we'll ever be able to do anything with them, they will be liquidated. Because they're no longer there. They've literally abdicated
Like
their
in a
process.
Mapulelo
Out of the
Sipuma.
turnaround process.
Mapulelo
If they know where it
Sipuma.
went wrong, they need to then come to the SHRA and actually work with us to get everything right. But we don't have any contact with any one of them at this moment, and we'll see
So
them
we've got to make a
someday
new
soon.
plan from scratch.
That's what we're doing now. So we're regularizing.
So what is your plan?
So we're regularizing, which is what we're trying to do with the tenants, what we're going to explain today. Meaning,
asinankinga nobhatala but sinenkinga nokuthi sibhatala yini.
Invitations for people to come and who qualify. There was leases that were being signed. There was vetting. There was a sort of vetting to ensure that the people is there. Then many people came in and they didn't go through that process. So we're saying let's then start with that. Get them to that point where we've regularized everyone. We know who we're dealing with. Then provide the necessary report to national, and then we have, it went out on the 20th.
Babehamba bazange bevalelise ukuthi bahamba bayaphi and then sesiyamangala mase bebuya bengavalisanga.
The e-tender documents where we're calling upon very experienced SHRAs who've been in this business for more than 5 years, who are performing, who have been complying with SHRA requirements, to come and see if they can then assist, step into that thing, so they then will take over. And then during that process, we want to hand them as clean as possible.
Abadona i-service provider phakathi and then emva kokuthi behambile
And see what we're collecting, and then work on a maintenance plan. So somebody did, and they've given us now a full a building assessment report, looking at where things need to be fixed and so forth. So we had a professional do that for us just this last week or the 2 weeks back. And they've given us a full
ngizocela ukuthi into yethu iphumelele sisacela ukuthi sihlale sinendawo yokuhlala
is to get it back to what it was meant for, functioning, and at the request, but it's something that we do at the request of
kaze sibongo sisendaweni eseDaggafontein SondelaVillage okuyingama-flat.
And then once we know everyone, then we can put in full security measures, including your cameras and what. Once we know that these then are the tenants on the inside and they're the right beneficiaries, and then on the other side, then there would be then the normal control where if you're a visitor, then you have to sign in and do things and whatnot, and then the tenants would have their own access elements, and then the access, and there'll be rules, like bring it back
like
to a normal community. So that's the plan, and that's what we're trying to achieve.
What I'd suggest you do though is that you have an election for a body corporate.
So it doesn't allow for a body corporate, but the Act, because it's tenants, it's not owners, but the Act has a nice thing where it's called tenant committees. So we're busy trying to then have maybe a standardized constitution that we have. But remember that, in fact, it's easier. The thing is, and what we've been trying to put across is that if you don't then register your unit and be vetted with us, we don't know who's on the inside. So it's easy for someone to say I'm representing tenants, but we don't know who they are. We don't know what processes they follow. Maybe there's a constitution, but follow to get voted. And one of the main things is that one group will come and then the other will come and say these are not legitimate. So we say before we even get there, let's then regularize, see, and then they have their own process that we can see where they vote for their representatives. And then during that process, we have people that then we can deal with, because we share crucial information, even for paper information. If they're not related in a way that you can trace, we can't share information with everybody. So that becomes the thing. So we're saying process-wise, let's work out the process, and then everything that you want, including representation, that is catered for the Act. So, and the Act, it's the same as body corporates and whatnot, where they have meetings, but in this instance or in this regime, they call it training committees and so forth. And there's a constitution.
The same purpose as a body corporate.
Same purpose. Yeah. So one thing is that we're mimicking is that scenario. Yeah, the fact it works. The only issue is that when things come up like issues in a body corporate scenario, they quickly raise special levies. Here we are stuck. If we're charging the correct rental, we can't burden our people more than that. So there's always then has to be some sort of lobbying. We do have sister entities like the NHFC who then assist with emergencies to try and then fund these things, because it's literally trying to help a situation where there's not much money to work with, but we have to make it work and we have to make it beneficial. So we're walking a very tight rope. And so when rentals stop, the whole project is, because it literally now says for maintenance, for all these things that you want, and for services, this is now the lifeline. So when for some reason, valid ones as well, your mismanagement of funds, when those things happen, they place us in a very, very bad.
You're going to attract those sort of people.
And they are always there, Shane.
You're going to attract
and
the
we
sort
never
of
know
people
where.
who are going to ask themselves, where's the profit?
Where's the profit? And then try and make it and then crash the project.
Crash the project.
But there's consequences, even with our own act itself. Breaching one of the requirements of the Social Housing Act is actually a criminal offence for these directors. So we can't let it be, and maybe when we do have followed the processes, others will see that, you know what, you'll never be a director again, and all those things. So those all required funds. So we do have attorneys on the side that are trying to work with just that, making sure that we hold the company accountable.
Can I quickly also?
Absolutely essential that you have an
But remember, we have to regularize first. Know that who's in there, know that they are the correct beneficiaries, and remember, once they are part and parcel of the regularization, everything, including reps, it's there. It's a given. I can't even debate.
How are you going to go about that?
Remember, now it's the tenants, so we know them now. Once they've regularized, we know that they comply with the act. Then they say, okay, we want to form a committee. Should we actually advise? We've got property managers and we've got CSOs as well who now have come with us to say we use their expertise to come train our tenants on governance and all those issues. So CSOs is readily available. They then come in and then get the mandate from now people that we know and have vetted to say, you know what, we want these guys to represent us. They can either form their own constitution or ask for help and then submit. And remember that once that process starts, or we're actually going to step away, we have to step away at some point. We can't be doing anything. So once it's self-sufficient, they then determine the day-to-day processes and so forth. So ours is to try and get to that point, and it's not forever. It's to then when we are happy that it's running the way it should, we should then step back and then they get, or the internal community then gets to say how it's represented, how it's they do have a lot of say in the. I think one day we'll take it to a properly functioning now. Most of them unfortunately are in the Western Cape, and then you can just see, oh, this is how they are represented. This is the ideal. This is what in practice what we have on paper. So everyone, including representation, it's there. Remember, rental tribunals also fall under human settlements. So those guys also, we've made a lot of ground during the year because we did roadshows. So they've also now availed themselves to actually train tenants on their rights and so forth. So we can actually have trainings on site by the rental tribunal on what to do, how to form these committees, what their rights would be. We've got CSOs on the government side who can then assist them, have the right documents, make sure they are able to hold even the representatives. The representatives must also be held to account. So there are ways to hold that, and then we want them to also have ways out for internal complaint procedures, where there's maybe an internal decision, and then all the way up to non-cost, the ones that don't cost, like your tribunals that cost you nothing, those ways where they can get finality on decisions, so that it's not just what the estate or whoever is saying, but you have your internal complaint, you don't come right, then you go to this person, or like an appeal process that you would where in terms of CCMA and so forth, all the way up, which don't allow, which keeps them away from having to go to court and having to pay legal fees and so forth. So overall, the idea is there, but on the ground, it's just difficult.
All right, I understand the situation. I don't know. You people got questions, I think maybe
We do.
start engaging here now.
I don't know, we'll check. You can just let me know where.
All right, what's the question? Who's got the question? All right, you first.
Kabatil, Salmonan. I'm sorry for being late. I think, Councillor, I spoke to you already. This is the face, Eric.
Eric for
Masha.
Oh, Bamata.
Yes.
Yes.
One thing, Councillor, understand the process and procedures and other things. This is secondary. The primary matter is that we cannot, by 2024 or after democracy, be allowed to take it. It's out of everything. In our deliberation and our discussion, I asked one question to Ubabudla. The question was, do you have the data of each and every individual that is staying there? The answer was totally no. And you cannot say by now you want to come up with the secondary part without starting from the primary one. The primary one is to start with the data to say who stayed there, who stays there, who stays there. Because the bigger problem I have, he said, some of the people that stays there, they have to be some of them. I want to put it in a way that it's going to not to be as big as he said. To say Eric has maybe take somebody to that place to say job or something, maybe a tenant of a tenant. But now if you don't have the data, how can you be sure of that? That was my first in the discussion. The second one that I want to submit today is that whatever process they want to start, the first part is to allow the team or leaders in that place, because everywhere we have a community leader. Allow the leaders work with them, start with the data. Once you are done with the data, the second part will be this and that and that. But in that process, you need to discuss the issue of, you cannot have people that for over 2 years not have electricity. Mind you, electricity is life these days. Life consists of electricity. We have learners that are supposed to start. Yeah. Even not learners. I'm a student. Yeah. I need to have a light to start. Second, you must have, because he told me that part of the rent is to make sure that the building is supposed to be maintained and so forth. I went there. The garden is dire. That place is doomed. But you want people to pay. I understand that we need to pay tax and rates for water and dustbins. But for electricity, because it was prepaid, how can you be the person? And number 3, I'm told, and he confirmed to me that there were first owners, because we're talking of owners, there were first owners that took more than 2 million of our state revenue. No, you did. You did. No, you confirmed.
I don't know how much. You
even said to me.
That's why we can't speak.
You even said to me.
I can't help.
No, you even said to me. You can't point the finger at me. You cannot point the finger at me. But don't point the finger at me. But don't point me. No, you said so. You said so. You said when I wouldn't have to bang a pant, it was on. Guys, I was not with you. Over the phone, I was not with you.
Woman Buffett.
Can I say last point? Can I say last point? Can I address you on the last point? Can I address you? I was addressing you. I was addressing you as a country. The last point, I was asking, no one will pay. No one will pay. No one will pay. No, who's also going to pay? Who's also going to pay? No, but one will pay.
ayilali baba ayilali
ngizomsiza and I don't have anything mangayifuni into engayifuni yeah ngiyekeni ke ngawo ngoba are you not accepting what engizoyiletha then it's fine
angithi uyazi ukuthi makhuluma abantu bayithi kuba lethiletwena
that's all I'm saying and after I've spoken I can't force things ngiyabeka nje nina decide. That's all in short. And when I fall short in notion, I've fallen short in as honest with you as possible. From day one, I try to be as honest.
Please, we love you and siyathanda kakhulu isithathe if bathi khona izinto ezimoshwa
umlomo siphinde zilizwe ngomlomo
iphutha lenziwa wonke umuntu there's no one who's 100%
yeah
please baba ngiyacela with due respect sishaya izandla
and don't be short tempered
iphutha lenziwa yilimi esithenje ongizwe kahle misikade yazo ngicela ungilalele baba khona la uthize khona mina ngikhulume kabi while isecurity kuyilo elisho ngale ndlela ngabuya kuwe misikade ngabuya kuwe ngathi no umuntu ushizo lokho ngulo uthi uzoba khona namhlanje sithethe ngifuna ukuthi siyilungiseni lento leya la because misikade ngifuna isigcine sizwane ngezwe eli1 yeah understand that's why ngithi that day ukhuluma no baba Mahlangu uzosenda that record because there is a record so that the record there is gonna say mistake is one muntu ngicela bafowethu
and I'm talking
what has to be done now there's no doubt that what has to be done I agree with you. We need to record the people who are there and we need to identify their bona fides that they should be there, that they have a legal right to be there. And the question that we need to sort out is how do we start with that problem? Forget about everything. Let's not talk about history and what's done in the past and what's lost. We want to fix this problem. It is an extremely complex problem. I can't get the electricity switched on until we've gone through all these legal parameters. I can't even begin to start talking to the municipality about put relaying cables, getting hold of it. This is not going to be solved in a week. It's not going to be solved in a month. I can tell you that now. There's a lot of stuff that has to be done. But we have to start somewhere. And to start somewhere is by agree. We must identify everybody who's in there, which flat they are in. Are they legitimately there? How long have they been there for? All those questions must be answered, and the department must actually, the agency must establish that. You must give them the room to work.
Wait, question and answer, guys. Can I propose this? Let whoever that is going to work with leaders in that complex, so that it can be easier. Remember, they've seen everybody day to day. We understand that because once the process starts, if I'm not the person that stays there, I may go and ask somebody to come, the one that was there first. Let's allow the leaders there to assist in the process. Then we have other leaders.
No, we
don't have a leader.
You know what? Because we're having a bigger meeting today. Yes. Let's then see. Remember, that's the reason why we wanted everyone regularized. Yes. Because we can then call them to say, we're not all the people in these units. So regularization is really what he's saying, and that's what's been resisted till today. We started it in October to say, please bring your information. We want to verify who is in this room. We gave application forms. There is a property manager who was already in there. We're trying to do that process to establish, but because it mentions rentals,
no, don't say that. Don't say that. Councillor, I want to say something.
So what I'm saying is that let's go to the bigger group now and say, okay, without the process, let them then vote their leaders now with everybody there. They must confirm that they occupy this and let unit. Those who have verified, those who have not, and let them put forward so that we know that there was a meeting.
Can I say a chance?
I cannot.
This process
so I can't
do
He said he came to us 2 weeks ago. He said we're gonna regularize, and after that I'm gonna come back. We're gonna talk about this. We'll see what's gonna happen. We're gonna see what we're gonna do from there. You know what they did? They regularized. They gave people notices that no, from the 1st of December we are deducting rent. Why? Why didn't you come? For him to come back here today, he heard there was a strike there. That's why he came here today. There was never him saying, no guys, now that you guys have been regularized, I'm coming, we're gonna discuss this matter further. No. It was just rentals. No, you're serving people, you sign up. No, on the 1st, the 15th, the 6th, you must be like the 15th is the last day. Today he's changing his story. We do not have faith in him. Today he's changing his story. Today he's talking a different thing. We don't have faith in him.
He said that if anyone was ever demanded rent, it was asked for rent. If someone was actually going through the process. We didn't go and say, okay, we're not because we didn't pay rent. No one came to you and say pay rent. If you have signed and you have the process and explained to you, you'll know why you need to pay rent. And I told her, and I told her. So on the
1st of December, it's
yes,
the first rent.
Yes.
Why am I paying the first rent?
There's no form that says
why am I paying the first rent? I am. Why am I paying the first rent on the 1st of
Okay, let's talk to you and
why are you taking my money while there's no electricity?
You know what? You know what I said to you. Mina, you know very well. I spoke to you. I said to you, come back after. You promised me to come back after 2 weeks so that you can come to.
Guys.
No. Let me finish, please. I've asked you, please come and tell the tenants because the one who you are busy talking to them are not working. Most of the people they were there at the meeting. There were less than 30 people. They are not working. I asked you, can you please come to the tenant so that we mobilize, and I ask you to bring the pamphlet so that all the tenants must know he's coming when, so that you must tell those tenants so that they can hear everything, because the time you came, I told you tell the people who doesn't work. And another thing is what we see in Sondela, it's not good. And what we see in Sondela, and they are using your name. I don't want to lie to you. They are using your name, but I know very well they are lying others because they want to get tenders there. And I can even mention, I will mention even their names inside of the tenant because they are busy at the office. And another thing, I submit my things. You still remember I told you, Tender, I submit after that. I told you why I didn't receive anything, but others they are receiving. You talked to that girl from the office. He started receiving I started receiving the information. After that, I said no. I started Googling that elegant life. You know what, Tender? Me, this way I say we are not here for fight. We want us to fix. We must fix it, Tender. Because that elegant, I can't submit. When I check that elegant whatsoever, I don't trust that NGO for my side, because I can't submit my things. To submit bank statement in my payslip, in my ID, you see, it's confidential information. So when I check that elegant for my side, I can show you even here. I even screenshot. That elegant scammed many people, you see. So I say no, because I'm waiting for you to come and explain for us, so that even me, I can say, Tender, can you please bring something in black and white, so that if we submit our things, because I went and take it back my things, so that I can submit my things, it's right. I submit my things to the right person or not, because there is too much scams into these days. And when I check that one, it's already registered. But it doesn't have the scammers too much. When I can even forward for you the thing I find it into that thing, so that I need to submit something which is to the right person. Like if I can submit to you, I know you are from SHRA. I trust you. You are from SHRA. There's nothing you can do with my document. No, for my side, there's
too much
nothing
faith in people. You have too much faith in people.
Why don't you do the regularizing? I take it that elegance is now another agent.
As a regularization board, we've got about a staff of 52 who deal with the whole country. So what we then do, which is the services that we use, especially now, and then the customer service providers until we always So when it started and there was just a few projects, it worked well because there was staff for it, but we literally are doing projects every now and then. It's growing, and one of the ways that we are delivering is to make one specific resources go out on tender and then have a service provider. So with this one, it's about 2 months. Because they're only so it's too much regularized.
The problem is you've got a trust problem.
There's no confidence here. No, if you're doing things the right way.
That form is written. That form is written on the 15. You must submit your documents.
Yes. Not so.
If you are not submitting on the 15, on the 6th, you must chase away. It's written there.
Yeah. So this is the notice of regularization that we brought. So we need to notify them that we are regularizing. So we're saying come forward, verify your information, and we'll give you until the 15th. Because remember, again, I need to set timelines because my service provider is literally when the contract ends. I need to deliver. So I said that, and then we're saying that if you then don't want to regularize, because remember the ultimate aim is to then have a Sondela that is regularized with. Remember when we were tenanting in the beginning, everybody would have then actually got approved because they did the right thing and they qualified. So we're saying do that. And then the notice is there, it's in clear, and then if you don't, then please consider vacating by then, and then we give them another month. So should look at that, because that means that you don't want to be part of the regularization process, and we can't vet you. Now we can't sit with people that have not been vetted, and that's what the notice intends to say. But it's not in the contract, because if you come in the contract, and then we deal with you, and then your issues, must figure when I can't. Remember, government is not just saying I'm looking after Bantu Abaganje. The government actually says we've got all the programs. So when we sit, that's why I'm saying when Umuntu Ekamwet was all regularized, if you sit, in fact, it's worse if you can't afford, because the government. I even made this example in the private sector, where I want to evict you out of my home. I need to cite the municipality, because if you say at that time, it's my home, everybody knows, if you say you can't afford another rental, I actually need to say in my papers, when are you working somewhere you can afford to rent somewhere else. And then when you say, I don't even earn, then the government must do a report. That eviction is not granted until the government has done a report to say how we're going to take care of you. So no one wants to actually be left in
Would
the
it hurt that you bring back electricity and then we get everything
I think
done?
you'll speak to that, Baba. You'll speak to that.
Can we give that woman
But you understand what's the situation it has to be catered. Guess what? Somebody also unit afford something needs to happen. And we need to make sure we are covered.
Something strange.
I think what can solve this is that I think SHRA must bring the second agent. Because what you need to take.
But
Are you sure? Are you the whole SHRA?
Yeah.
He said he doesn't have balance sheets. He said he doesn't have anything.
The last question.
But you heard my question.
One person.
Yeah.
That one is not a problem.
Get credit and get an account, because you're going to have to You're going to have to submit the same thing as the regular license. They can give it to me and then we can take it to the municipality.
Ngoba ngisho guys ukuthi thina siyanitshela njengoba ngisho kanje angisho ukuthi senginfosileke manje sekuduma izulu you guys then say trust you then exercise your rights njengoba besho nje find ways ukuthi sisebenze. So when I put in general, which this is what must happen, then when I raise an issue, I raise a thing, and then it gets sorted. I wish you would however you guys manage what I came to do, and then when I don't agree with this, which you have a right to do. That's what I always say. Guys, we say it because this is what must happen. But when in fact when you're talking from experience, which means which we ask what not to do, then you then follow your rights when the show when I get from your side, because at that stage experience, so I'm still gonna keep to the generality of it. So John,
so tell me, it's Let's Care coming back because now it's the owner.
It can't. We have to. We're trying to move everything away from
Let's Care.
But they get mentioned a lot. Okay. And then we need to hold them accountable.
Yeah. And then last question. Sorry, last question.
Oh, sorry.
So, Castellan, last question. Electricity part of it. Sandra, I just want to ask something. We are going to regularize everyone. You get the data and everything. Who's there and all that. But the issue of electricity. Are you saying we must pay first before we can get it, or
no? Electricity is not a negotiable. In a normal social housing, they actually must confirm with their services and that they will be paid for. So now we're saying regularize, and remember, regularizing comes with you being classified. Which okay, you fall within this bracket because you earn this much. This is how much rental you can pay. Then you speak rental.
Because already I know they said I must pay 2.1.
2.1, yeah. So in that same process, which means what you fall under that bracket. In that same process, we can't leave until we have no case.
But we're paying.
So we must pay first.
For what? No, you're not paying for what?
We are paying for
remember I said
we can't just pay without electricity.
They must do something.
So guys, that's why now we're meeting, we're not seeing each other.
That's why we're not seeing eye to eye.
So I'm not saying, that's why I'm saying to raise it. But the process, we collect rentals, we make necessary arrangements with the city, we make necessary arrangements to get a company to then maybe do the clean, like everything that is required. Because our rentals, remember, which they're not just paying for the electricity. And again, it's always, and you will hear that even from the Highest Office. It's always an issue where people are paying for something they're not getting. That will hear that it's a legitimate concern and whatnot.
How about
that? So we're saying, let's remember, we'll use what we have.
Maybe the councillor, you go and tell to the municipality, move this account of Let's Care, open a new account.
What will happen is if you are regularized and you're paying rental, then you will get a prepaid meter. Where you will have to already have electricity. They will give you the
remove that one.
Phased out anyway. So any new organisation is going to involve each flat getting a prepaid meter. So you pay for your electricity separately.
Yes. We've been doing that.
No, you were not doing that. You were buying electricity from Let's Care.
Yeah. That won't be the same.
Okay, but
now the problem is not just getting the electricity. The problem is this cable that's gone, the transformers that's gone. There's huge capital expenditure that has to be found. I've got to get them to put it on the capital budget, and that's not going to happen next week. I can promise you it's not going to happen.
So meaning we must pay first
out of pocket.
We must pay in advance.
So
Is that what you're saying? A simple yes or no will be good so that you leave. No, I can't.
Remember, we're sitting
No, he should keep quiet. You should talk to women listening to him. No, you can't just speak to us like that. You're not your subordinates. But you're not answering us.
But
you've been undermining us. Remember to say he's giving excuses.
Remember, in any place where you are, there's supposed to be you have to pay rent, then you demand from the landlord. This landlord, please, I'm meeting my side of the bargain.
You're not.
1, 2, 3. No, I'm sure then talk. I'm meeting my side of the because it's a dual thing. Then you say, I want this and that and that and that to happen. And it has to happen. And after if it doesn't happen, then you go and you are right foot again to withhold rentals if these things are not happening. It's a two-way street.
You're making us sign contracts. You are regularizing. If I'm signing a contract, I'm committed to something. It's very binding.
Let's deal with that as well.
Can they say?
Hello, Mama.
Let's give him a
Thank you. I'm sorry because I'm going to ask something that I heard for the first time when you explained. You were talking about 700 rand the rentals, ne? It was just
I'm just giving you
an example.
So if you earn around 850, you'll calculate it what would be 33%, but it doesn't have to be at the top. Depending on the operational expenses, you have to give leeway. If 500 is payable, then that becomes the, you don't have to maximize it because abantu must get what they need.
Mr. Dagga, you kept quiet for a long time. That is why we are here today. Because SHRA was just digging from us. I was paying 4,500.
On what's your salary? Because it has to be salary. The rental is not just
only 11,000.
Is what you also were in that 3 to 5. Okay, we have to deal with that.
4,500 plus 1,000 electricity because I have to pay the levy for 850 and I get. I've got evidence, ne? And even email apologizing because I was supposed to be chased away, running short of I miscalculate with 140. I did check today. There was this information that I was sent that you will be chased out because you owe SHRA 140, whereas I've paid over 5,000. You take long time to act, ne? Another thing, Mr. Dagga, the division in that. The SondelaVillage. Can you please avoid that one because there's now phase 1 and phase 2 and people can die. I'm telling you, with the name of Tenja, I was not guys. When they say Tenja says Tenja, I was not aware that you are the one. I used to attend the meetings.
Yes,
I used to listen to you always. But the way Tenja, how they explain how Tenja is untouchable. If he said something, he has already said. So I am afraid. Yes, I've got papers. I failed to submit them yesterday. I was running because of some personal issues, so that I must submit because I'm afraid to be chased away because Tenja is going to take my things and throw them out. There are bouncers that are coming to remove us as we see the insurance. That's why we refuse to sign the form. As we see as we see the security has been already changed because it's preparing the bouncers to come and take our things to move them. Where's humanity?
Remember,
do you know that we were giving
security by signing these little 1-month contracts because we're just trying to get over this.
Yeah.
So when that one ended, we had to then
have to replace. And thank you for the security because we are safe.
It was just to close that gap.
Thank you for the security. We are safe.
Yes,
we sleep well. Two, Mr. Stenjo.
Yes.
Hey, can you please bring the office of South African? We don't want foreigners, Zimbabweans to come and lead us in our land.
But remember, in that process, that process will actually cater for those things. Isn't any funa? That's what I've always told guys.
Hey,
it's temporary. It's temporary. Who are going to be affected in the long term. We need to hear them. All the long-term things, these are things. Guys, don't put them under the carpet.
You know, when I go to SHRA office, I was starting by preparing myself and hold myself so that I'm going to talk to Jesus sister. because the answers that she was going to give me, I will feel small. I was going that, wow, how can you charge me 1,000 for 10 days? I just stayed in the house for only 10 days, and I paid 980.
Okay, for what?
980 for 10 days. You know what was her answer? How many are you in the house? I was staying with my granddaughter. She was still 2 years. I calculate among the people that are staying. I bath with her. I wash the washing with the same water.
So there's no meter that's calculating how much you consume?
No, estimation. And I was trying to avoid to overuse water, but I paid a lot of money.
They were supposed to.
It was December, school closes. We go to
the one who gave them this.
We go to home. 10 days I paid 1,000.
They should fix their own
this one comes
they were cruel, and they were very cruel to us. And they were very cruel. And when you talk to the lady that was working in that office, you have to hold your breath. I'm begging you to do this, and we'll just cut you out. My deposit is gone. My deposit is gone.
Meaning bafike bakunokhetha ikhona security
Yebo nababasha baba
mongena futhi kwe-OBM level of baya kwentombazana okay bayinokhetha kodwa amaphoyisa baqala
They started to my house, to my house. Fortunately, I went to Arvate hospital because of this lack of the attack of the Sondela.
She was attacked.
After that, when I was in hospital, they go to my child.
But
unit. After that, they went to his unit.
At the division.
They went to the gate and asked the security. They said, Metro. Why is Zanele and Bongani?
But it's fine, then write your own statement.
Just by this statement, but
and the Bible is wide open throughout the whole night.
Those are the operational issues that we need to change.
But we don't pay without electricity. That's why